And so I tend to be more strategic about how and when I talk about it with people. There are people that are ready to hear about it. Hey, what do you do and where can I find you? Then I start talking about the podcast or the live stream.
Right.
If they're not really that interested, maybe not so much.
Right.
It depends on the setting, on the interaction, what they're asking for, what they're asking about. Because there's no point in forcing somebody to something down somebody's throat. What's that saying that if you convince a man or a woman against their will, they remain unconvinced? So sometimes it's in one ear and out the other. So
we don't want to force that, but I was thinking more about active listening and people who say they're interested, who want to know about what's going on. And we talk about fatigue, not only Zoom fatigue in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are just really, they've had it some days. I mean, some days they take a special drink or a lotion or potion and they've got the energy, and they take their shake and we do our yoga, we run around the block and we come back and we say, yay, I'm ready. And then there are moments where life happens, that's what life is all about. And then they're distracted. But I believe consistency, not only in telling people what we're doing, but in listening to others is really important. Because if I'm one of those people that I have to keep being reminded, eventually I'm going to get that, stigma of,
you're going to do this.
Like, oh,
not
gosh.
showing it, but
like she's always got an excuse and I always have to remind her. And there's like, this week it's my car and next week it's my dog. And then it's something tragic. And that, like, these are patterns. Like it's not, we'll talk. We have a great subject today to discuss. And I'm really happy to do that because we are priding ourselves on conversations worth having, but listening is still the key to having a conversation. I listen to you, wait till you finish. You listen to me, wait till I'm finished. We have that, should of mutual respect. Right. And that's how a conversation could go, go.
And it involves not only listening to the other person and waiting for your turn, it's also taking what that person has said to you and then adding it in or modifying it along with your ideas and then giving it back to them. So you have this exchange going on. It's not just one person talking and then you start talking about something completely different that has absolutely nothing to do with what was just said, because that's not active listening. That's just waiting for your turn to speak. That's not a conversation. That's not communication.
Even at 5 and 6, we teach little ones to listen so that we can keep the conversations relevant. There are tough times for some people. Today we're going to touch this subject of not tough times, but we're going to touch a subject of a specific fatigue. There's adrenal fatigue, there's sleep deprivation fatigue, those new moms who just, aren't going to get sleep for the next 2 years or whatever it is, or maybe just for 2 weeks. There's all types of fatigue. And today we're going to touch on that amazing subject of Zoom fatigue.
Right. And before we get there, I just want to acknowledge, this is stuff, you mentioned about being fatigued and things going on. And this was, a tough week for us. We had some stuff going on in the background personally and family-wise. And it required us to step in and help each other out and pick each other up and get things done. And sometimes, we need to do that for each other. And I just wanted to acknowledge that, sometimes you just have to do what it takes. I was up late last night and early this morning just because I needed to pick up and help support you. And it'd been a tough, full week for you. And I just want to acknowledge that, I do it because I care about you and I know what you've got going on, and I want to make sure I'm there for you and for us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would not go to sleep last night until I finished what I had to do for us. There was no way I was going to close my eyes and not do that. And no matter what was going on, no matter what I had in my head, or even if it was pounding or empty, it didn't matter. I'm like, I have to do this, because those days, man, you don't know what's going to happen. And when it happens, you have to be, as a professional,
Yep.
We're human, but as a professional, we have to be ready. So this is important for our audience to know. Be there for the people that you love and that you care about, and be open to, maybe you're going to lose a little sleep to support the people that you care about. Maybe you're not going to get your beauty sleep or get to do something. And when, if the next day something happens and you return the favor, we're Sicilian. I owe you.
So you're saying you'll be owing me a favor.
I owe you a favor. I owe you big time.
So that's, it's just, there are things to do. And then sometimes when, you have those mornings, you're tired, you need one of these morning mugshot. And I got my coffee right here. It's actually my second one this morning. So now, having said that, I don't need the coffee to get myself going, to be Dr. Energy. Coffee doesn't affect me that way. I can have it at 10 o'clock at night and go to bed an hour later and no problem. So,
because you're Sicilian, that's why, because it's like water to you.
Yeah, I've been drinking coffee since I was probably 10 years old. So.
Probably even younger. I'm sure when you were little, did the family give it to you when you were little?
We had our special little mugs. They were half size or quarter size mugs, and it was like a ton of milk in it and a little bit of sugar, right? So there's probably like this much coffee in it, but it's for me, honestly, the coffee is about the ritual in the morning, grinding the coffee beans, because I like to grind my own coffee beans. I buy them fresh roasted, and then the smell of the grind, and then the coffee flavor is so much better. It's incredible how fast the coffee bean grinds lose their flavor sitting in a tin or a bag after you grind them. It's very, very quick. So I only grind 2 or 3 days at a time. So.
Yeah, what a good point. I'm like a little puppy. I don't necessarily drink coffee, but when my husband is grinding it in the morning, when I say I'm like a little puppy, like I make sure I get downstairs just to catch that part, right? I because my second floor control bridge room, studio is up here on the second floor, so I can basically not get out of this room for about 12 hours a day. So I make sure that I take my exercise up and down the steps, and when the coffee beans are grinding, that's my cue. Like, okay, I'm there. I just want to be there and talk over the bean grind, talk about the beans.
And I see somebody is saying hi in the chat there in the comments.
Awesome. Who do we have with us? Who's with us today? Can you tell us who's there?
Ira Dyken.
Oh, Irina. Hello.
Right.
Irina Dickin. Yes, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here with us. That's awesome. So glad you're here. Let's start.
Yeah, let's dive in.
About Zoom fatigue.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about a few points, because we could do this for a very long time, and we've committed to an hour to be finished by 12. So let's talk about what's exhausting. So we just talked about personal things that can exhaust you, and that's life. But let's talk about being on this screen right here. I'm on a 27-inch desktop with a Logitech Pro C922. Thank you, because my head is still.
Yep.
And I love this camera, and we both have a Blue Yeti mic, and we love our setup, always looking to improve. So we know exactly what we've got. We've got our lights. We come into our rooms, our studios, and we know what's happening. Does it sometimes feel like too much? Yeah, it could. So what do we do? And let's talk about what causes this exhaustion. Well, first of all, our brains are not wired for this type of activity like this, non-verbal cues. We're looking at people on Zoom, and sometimes we're looking at them doing this. We're looking at them doing this. We're looking at them, maybe they're doing what we have to do here. If they're the organizer, we have to do a few things to make sure we're catching people.
Exactly.
We have our notes, we have our subject, it's in our head. But when you're having a conversation with someone and they're not giving you any verbal cues and they're all silent, that's where our brain works a little bit harder. That's not easy. So that can create fatigue. Yeah. It's tough to track someone's gaze on Zoom. And we'll go into it a little bit more, but Dr. Energy, maybe you'd like to share. How can you track my gaze when you're trying to look at me in the camera, so that you're trying to look in the camera so I feel like you're looking at me. And then how can you see where I'm at? Like this, the eye contact I'm giving you is looking in the camera. I have no idea what you're doing.
It's different, right? Because when we are in person, it's easier to make eye contact with people in the audience as we move our eyes around the room. When we're online and we're moving our eyes around our room, we're looking at a monitor. And you have a 27-inch desktop. I have two 24-inch monitors. So I have one off to one side, one to the other side, so I can see them both. And because I'm also running a production and I've got some notes here so that I make sure we get everything. So occasionally I have to look at the other things and I want to see the comments in the stream feed as well. So it's hard when we look away, people know we're no longer looking at the camera, and that's okay. The challenge is that when we are connected in live with somebody in a room, we're connected not only in mind, but also in body, because we're physically present with somebody and it's easier to feel connected. When we're online, there's that physical separation, and our mind, our brain has to work harder to process the nonverbal communications. And one of the big things is that a lot of times, like for example, in digital meetings, Zoom, Google Meet, whatever it might be, Microsoft Teams, you have all these people on the screen all at the same time, and we don't know where to look. And you see the little green box jumping around from person to person as somebody coughs and it changes things. So our brain is working so hard to keep up and to know where to look. And of course, then the thing, the size of each person is a lot smaller as well. So it's hard to know where to look, when to look, and what they're saying when they're not speaking.
Yeah, great point. The brain starts churning and turning.
Yeah, it gets
as soon
tired.
As soon as that happens, it's adding a little bit, like driving in the snow without snow tires. You spin in your wheels and your brain needs to engage.
Exactly.
Let's touch on the stresses of Zooming from home. And this is what's happening now. So I wanted to give you some back information. I am looking at the camera. I have my notes. I have my notes in two places. I will look at you when I speak, but right below the camera, just an inch below, I have my notes. So if I really want to have a little help during this conversation, I don't want to go like this or like looking for it. I want to have it right there. So Zooming from home, like what happens? There are distractions. Some people, it's not for me. I'll tell you how I Zoom, but I'll tell you what we know about some people. They're Zooming from the bathroom. They're Zooming from the bedroom. They have the laundry, the meals, the dog, the kids. Who can relate to that? I've heard stories about CEOs of companies being in the bathroom, of children getting out of the bath, running behind the screen, or running behind the camera, behind the person on Zoom. Now, that's not what Zoom is intended for. It's not intended to invade your personal space. So we need to create, if we're from home, we need to create something that is more professional. Some people are in closets. I can't tell you all the different stories you can imagine, but I will share with you how I Zoom from home before Dr. Energy gives us his take on that. So I don't have the dog here and I don't have the kids here, and I'm lucky enough to have a studio, and my studio has everything that I need, including a door. Don't take it for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you need to close that door. And if you need to say a recording or in a meeting, then do that. In my particular situation, we're not whispering, so my husband and I's voices are not overbearing on each other's calls. We have dedicated space. So this is a really ideal situation for me. If you have that ideal situation, you might still be distracted by food and the fridge and the laundry. You might just not be able to focus. It might be a hard thing for you to do as a human, regardless of the fact that you have this room. So I encourage you to have a checklist when you're Zooming from home of what you want to do before you get to your Zoom meeting. If you want to get your coffee or your water or your tea or take a walk or fix your makeup, if you want to have something nearby, I'll share what I have. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, spray for my throat. I have a really nice roll-on peppermint just in case things get a little bit too tough and I need a little peppermint fix. Gentlemen, you might want your lip gloss as well, but that's more of a lip balm. And then just in case I have to freshen up my lips in between settings, I get to do that. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Because that's what I need in order to do my meeting. I need to be able to drink my water, have a throat spray, have menthol. I need to have my phone operational and functioning. I need to know that my computer is updated. And I need to know that my Bluetooth headset is fully charged and not be distracted. Take it away, Dr. Energy.
Yeah, the distractions, the struggle is real, as they say. And I find that what can happen, and this is the advantage of having a team, the two of us presenting like this, because I can switch the camera to just me or to just Catherine. And while that's doing, I can even mute my mic because I have a mute button right on the mic, so it doesn't show up as muted on the screen, but you still won't be able to hear me. And while we're doing that, one of us is on screen, the other person can be putting on a little lip balm. And yes, I do have a lip balm right here. Thank you, Magdalena, woman divine. Awesome, awesome stuff. And yes, I do have my glass of water here, and you already saw me drinking my coffee, which I've now finished. The other big thing about the Zoom meetings is we're often tempted to be distracted and break social conventions when we otherwise wouldn't be. For example, if we were actually in a live face-to-face meeting with a group of people, we likely wouldn't be checking our email, checking our text messages every 5 seconds. But when we're on Zoom, because we can kind of shut our camera off or know that the display is on speaker view, so only this person speaking is, and we have our mic muted, we could be looking down, checking our phone. We could be checking our email on the computer if we happen to be using our laptop or our desktop, because we can have all those apps open in the background and people can't see us. But it actually ends up being distraction, and then we can't even focus. And what happens if you get called on suddenly and you weren't paying attention? You're not going to know what was being said. It becomes challenging. And so the whole meeting becomes disrupted and more disjointed when we Zoom. So Zooming from home definitely has, or digital meeting from home definitely has a lot of challenges to overcome. And it can be tiring. And what I invite you to do is to turn off your email when you're in a digital meeting, turn off your text messages, and then just focus on the meeting. That is my invitation to you on that point. Catherine.
I wanted to go over, thank you. I wanted to go over the most recent 2 points. One, Zoom is exhausting. Point number one, we know that. Yeah. Well, yeah, it for a lot of people, we're hearing that, right? Exactly. I don't necessarily feel the exhaustion from Zoom because I manage it differently. But if we didn't manage what we're doing, it could be exhausting. It's like driving. Some people get tired, but if you're not hydrated and taking breaks and getting out of the car, so it's the same thing.
We're going to talk about some of those strategies of how to manage it coming up.
Right, as well. We're going to do that next. Exactly. So that's behind the scenes. Zoom is exhausting. Then the next one is the stressing of Zoom from home. So we know that it's not an ideal situation. Maybe you're in an office where there are distractions.
Right.
We use the word home because most people are at home. So if you're able to go to your office, you might have the same situation. Right. You might have distractions from coworkers. So either way, we're going to follow those rules, suggestions, invitations to get yourself prepared. So next, we're going to talk about incorporating small breaks. I'll tell you a story. I was on a training the other night for Arts Etobicoke, plug for Arts Etobicoke. I'm a nominations committee co-chair, and I'm actually proud new executive board member and a board member.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about that. And we were in a fantastic strategic planning meeting, and the organizer, the leader of that meeting, at 60 minutes incorporated, it was an official break where we all left our screens. So we got up, we did whatever we want. We had a time, come back. Now, this was really important for this training because it was a strategic planning meeting. So we're using tools. There are many of us in that room. We're focusing on new material. We're not rehearsing anything. We're understanding what people are saying. We're comprehending it. We're following their verbal, their visual cues, their nonverbal cues. We're looking at these tools. We're reading. So it can be tiring, and you really need to put everything else aside. So when we had that scheduled break, some people said, "Oh, that was like so amazing." Another way, what I do in my bridge meetings or my Zoom meetings is I'll add a little game. I'll add something that's fun. I will consciously change the subject to something that shifts the brain. So I may not announce it and say, now we're going to have a break, but I will announce it. And when I'm in person, when we had those live events, we know that people need to get up and move. So I would often incorporate a way for that audience to stand up. I invite you to think about the breaks, the pauses, maybe breaks isn't a good word, the pauses that you incorporate into your conversations, especially if you're leading them and you have an opportunity to give people a break.
Yeah, it's the putting in pauses and opportunities to step away for a moment or two is so valuable. In my Toastmasters meetings, we do that frequently. And for my Toastmasters club, I happen to be currently the Zoom host, the digital meeting host. So what I've done is I'm fairly tech savvy. So I've incorporated putting in a little like a break screen, be right back sort of the idea with some background music playing. And I always encourage people to get up, take a bio break, go get a glass of water, stretch, do a couple of squats, something to get the body moving. Go look off out the window, look at something in the distance, so that it gives your eyes a break from focusing at the same distance. Because if we're looking at a computer screen all day, our eyes are fixed at one distance the whole day long, and that's very, very bad for your vision long term. We need to learn how to accommodate at different distances. So I will often, at those pauses, I will often turn and look out the window, and I will practice focusing from the house across the street to the tree just outside my window to literally to the end of my nose, and then just jump back and forth between those three places. So it gives my eyes some exercises and a break. So those are some of the ways that you can have a little bit of pause and refresh. And then the other thing that I like to do is just take a few nice deep breaths in through the nose, where I feel my belly getting big, like the Buddha, right? Take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale through the mouth as the belly gets small. And that activates the diaphragm, which is actually the parasympathetic side of our nervous system, the heal, the rest, the relaxation side of the nervous system. Excuse me for a second.
As you're taking a pause to cough.
Mute buttons are great for that. So taking that deep breath actually activates that portion of your nervous system that helps you de-stress a little bit. So taking that pause to do that is really, really helpful.
The other piece I'll add before I go to the next point is when we're looking at people, right now you see our natural backgrounds. It's pretty easy to look at. There are choices that people make, and sometimes those choices are hard to look at. Some people use green screens, they use virtual backgrounds, we can play, show you all the bells and whistles. It might be hard for you to look at that for a long period of time.
Right.
So we can do another conversation about this actually in our membership. I know I'm just going to drop a little. In our membership module, you will be able to learn about some of these other tips and tricks. Yeah. So we'll show you some of those backgrounds, and some of them are really cool. I'm not saying that we shouldn't use them, but when you're talking to someone and you want their attention, you want to make sure that what you have is not hard on their eyes, because if it's hard on their eyes, it's probably hard on their brain.
Brains, yeah,
so before I go to the next point, you want to talk about the banner you just put up, or?
Nope.
Okay.
We'll
so
talk
the
about
next
it
point.
at the end.
Okay. So the next point is, yeah, I love that. Thank you. Opt for speaker view. All right. What does that mean? Where is that? What's the gallery? Gallery is Hollywood Squares. Speaker view is one big view. The speaker is on the screen, and that means you cannot see yourself. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You're going to be looking at the speaker. You're not going to be looking at yourself. As if you're in a classroom and the speaker has your full attention. When you do that, you actually take away the task. I know some people say, well, I want to see what everybody's doing. Okay. Depends on how many hours you're on Zoom. If you do one Zoom a day, that might be fine. If you're working on Zoom, think about choosing in Zoom, top right, speaker view, gallery view, full screen. If you go to speaker view, Dr. Energy will share with you what happens. And when you choose your speaker view, it means you're going to pay attention. We are going to pay attention to that one person while they're speaking.
Right. So this is essentially right now speaker view with Catherine spotlighted. And now this would be speaker view with me spotlighted. This would be a version of gallery view, as would this, with just two speakers. With more speakers, obviously there'd be more windows. Now, if you are the host of the meeting and you have a lot of people in your meeting, I would invite you to bring somebody else on who's tech savvy and make them a co-host so that they can keep people muted. Because here's what happens. When we choose speaker view, if somebody's microphone is open, the view is going to flash from the main speaker to another speaker because the Zoom or digital meeting platform heard a sound from another speaker, and it's going to flash them up on screen before somebody else speaks or moves or makes a noise before it goes back to them. So you need to keep everybody else muted. If you're going to have everybody with their microphones open, gallery view is going to be the better view because then you'll just see the green box move from person to person. But again, that's hard to follow. The last piece of it is when you are in either speaker view or gallery view, if you hover over your picture tile, your video tile, you'll see three little dots, the little hamburger type menu will be there in the upper right hand corner. If you click on that, there's actually an option it's called hide self view. And what that does is it will actually hide your own camera from yourself. Everybody else in the meeting will see it, just you won't. So just remember, if you choose hide self view, you may not see yourself, but everybody will. So you may not want to be picking your nose or something like that because people will see that. You just won't. The beauty of hide self view, though, especially if you are giving a presentation or you are speaking, is it's easier for your brain. When we are normally speaking, we don't normally see ourselves up on a screen in front of us speaking. And this is hard for our brain because we naturally want to look at ourselves speaking to see what we're doing. And then we forget to look at the camera or we forget to engage our audience. And that becomes very tiring, not only for us, for our brain, because we're constantly looking to see what we're doing. I just did it right there. I looked at myself to see what I was doing on screen, and I actually have it on two screens. So hide self-view where possible. Oh, I hear Alexa.
Reminding you, meditate.
Hi, Alexa.
She's always here with us.
She's always with us. She's going to talk again in a second.
I'm reminding you, meditate.
And meditating is a beautiful thing to help you relax on those breaks that you have in your Zoom meetings. So that's another thing, distractions, such as your digital assistants. You could incorporate it into the show or you could mute them. And, we choose to incorporate it into what we do here. So hide the self view is what I'm saying when you're on Zoom or Google Meet, so you don't see yourself speaking.
And one thing I'd like to add 10 things, but I'll add one thing. When you go into your Zoom meeting, be familiar or have someone help you with your settings.
Yes.
Because you may not exactly know where these settings are that we just spoke to you about. So you might say, okay, easy for you to say, choose the setting. I'm on my phone. I'm not on my 27-inch. I'm on a 12-inch. I'm on an iPad.
I'm on a phone.
Right. There are different ways to accomplish this. So invite someone you know who knows a little bit more than you, or get in touch with us and we'll assist you with that, because we might know a little bit more about the subject since we're talking about it. And if you're frustrated, if you find that you are repeatedly frustrated with something, then ask someone who knows a lot more, so that you don't just marginally improve that situation,
Right.
that you go and you sort of tackle it. So we'll be happy to discuss this with you personally if you want to get into our membership. Oh, do I keep saying that?
Yep, you do. It's okay.
All right. Okay.
That's over
Can't help
here, though.
myself.
That's a different banner.
Okay.
Just
All
shift my
right.
position here.
Yeah, we have something new, so I'm really excited about that.
Well, that really, covers the main points of what we wanted to talk about. So if our audience has any questions, just pop them into the comments there, and any questions about what we covered or any further add-on questions about online meeting fatigue and strategies you can use to resolve it, please just pop them into the comments there and we'll be happy to answer them. As Catherine mentioned, we're even going to put them into our membership area where we will put some tips that you can use to do that, with some little video tutorials and those types of things. So,
right. What we'll do in those videos is we'll demonstrate without having to navigate the live stream,
yes.
so that we could script it, give you 2 or 3 points in a short period of time, and you can be focused because we will be able to give you that focus.
Right.
In a live stream, as focused as we are, we're also focusing on you attending. So we want to deliver. We're content creators. We're creating the content. We're repurposing content. We're giving that to you, and we want to be able to hear what you say and interact with you. So in our membership, we're going to give you clear and as we would in one of our courses, but clear, concise information based on the questions that you're asking us. So we're providing you the answers in a very streamlined fashion in what we call our new membership.
Right. Yeah. So jump on over there, buymeacoffee.com/BU network. Check out the membership. And we're actually recording stuff even as we speak. We've got some content ready to go there. Hey, Cindy's with us as well. And I said hey to Rob earlier, and if he's still here with us as well.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, Rob. Hi, Irina.
Great. So, thanks for being here.
Yes, we appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you. And we appreciate all the shares that you give us and that you share on your social media about us. It really is a big bouquet for us as content creators.
Right. That's one of the biggest things, right? Is when we find something that's of value and we share it with other people that we know that are looking for that, they're going to say, wow, they cared enough about me to share something that I was having trouble with. And we, this is part of what we do here on this page as well, is when we find other links, other resources that are helpful, we post them here. But even if it's not, especially, and even if it's not even if it's not our stuff, especially if it's not our stuff, because we are always looking for results and for tools. And this is one of them, the creatortoolkit.com, David Foster, Impartial Geek. This is a free resource to help you start building content for your business. For if you want to go, even if you don't want to do it live, if you want to create recorded video, or if you want to create a podcast, or you just want to do instructional videos, it's a great place to start to learn how to start building content.
Well, speaking of other people's events, Cindy Mount, I know you have a link for me somewhere. Cindy has an event tomorrow morning at I hope I'm saying it. Friday morning, yes, at 7:30 a.m.
Eastern time.
Eastern. So I invite you, Cindy, to please, if you have that available so that I can continue speaking and looking at the camera, please drop that link. Any of these quick starts, people who want to just jump into something tomorrow morning at 7:30, you can meet me over there with Cindy, and she will drop that link in the chat, hopefully. Let's talk about what dropped into our mailbox almost an hour ago. That was fun.
So, as we have talked about with you in the past, we release our podcast episodes at 10:30 Eastern, Thursday mornings. And that one, just if you are signed up to our email list, you will have gotten that notification. It's our 70th episode. It feels like just the other day we did a big announcement for our 50th.
I know.
And here we are, 20 episodes. It's like,
wow,
blow my mind.
It is. Well, you talk about our email list. Let's keep blowing our mind. Look what happened to us with our list. Up and down, and we leveled out.
Exactly. So with our email list, we have more than 100 subscribers on our list, but we have 100 engaged subscribers. And so we're having a little discussion between the two of us about what we want to do to reward or as a special gift for those 100 engaged subscribers. So we're coming up with something a little bit special. It'll be launched or sent out in the next couple of weeks. We just have to fine tune a couple of things and see what exactly we want to do.
I wonder if the 101, is there such a word?
101th?
101th subscriber could be included. So the 101th person to subscribe and engage, let's put them in it too. So if you're on this live and you're not subscribed, let's give you the link and we'll drop it in the chat.
Exactly.
Yeah, 101st. If you sign up now to our list, we'll include you in that special gift. So Dr. Energy, we're going to put that in the chat, or we're going to put it across the screen. I think it's better if they could click on it, probably in the
I'm going to drop
chat,
it in the link. So
okay, they'll drop the link. We'll drop the link in the chat. So the 101st, whatever that means, you'll be included and engaged. So that means that we really want to see you engage with us, because we engage with you. If you're here, you're engaging with us. If you're subscribed to us and engaging with us, and we're engaging back with you, that's sort of how it goes in the digital world. If we were having coffee and lunch, and if we were in a meeting every week, if we went and met at a restaurant or a coffee shop, we would all shake each other's hands and we would pass around business cards. We would have, shake hands. We would
high five.
Whoops, wait a minute.
Am I
doing that?
Just do it up to the camera.
Okay, there you go. So we would have a presenter. We would be thanking the presenter. The presenter might have a gift for the audience. It might be a giveaway. We would be doing all of those things. And then we'd probably get in our car and go to another meeting and do the same thing all over again. What we do here every Thursday is we show up live with content for you based on the information that you've given us. We create that. We have it prepared weeks in advance. And when you're on our email list, you not only know who our podcast guests are, but you know what we're going to be talking about. So we want you to engage and put it in your calendar if it's a subject that you are interested in. And if not, tell us what you're interested in. We can cover that too.
Yep, absolutely. So I just dropped the link both to connect with us and also for our latest podcast episode. The other cool part is if you're on that email list, we also on Tuesdays send out a reminder notice about what our live stream is going to be on the Thursday. So if you're on our list on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, you would have got an email saying that our topic today was about Zoom fatigue. And there'll be another email coming out on Tuesday next week telling you that, or reminding you that our topic next week on Thursday is, Catherine, do you remember what it is?
Of course I remember. Dun, 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 dun. 1 second. It's about content. Give me a minute.
Communication.
I have to go look at it because obviously I was going to our schedule to look at
cheated.
it.
I had it open in front of me.
Oh, did you? I didn't open that today. Okay.
So the reason we like to joke about this is we schedule our content out a few weeks ahead of time. So sometimes we forget what exactly our topic is going to be the next week, and we have to look it up. So I cheated and had it open ahead of time. So
communication styles, but you promised that. So I should have remembered that because you promised it to our audience, and you gave us the verbal cue. I was listening, but I like to read it. I hear it and I need to.
You're a little more visual. I'm a little bit more auditory. So
yes, thank you. You're a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Was that Sonny and Cher?
Oh, was it? No.
No. A little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll. I thought it was Sonny. Donnie and Marie?
Oh my God. Oh.
Who was it?
We have
something like that.
Can one of our guests tell us who that is?
Yeah, I'm a little bit country. You're a little bit rock and roll. I don't remember who it was.
I'll have to ask Siri or Google.
Or Alexa.
Yeah. Oh gosh, if I ask her, she'll keep going on.
Yeah. We don't need that.
She never knows when to shush up.
Shush.
Don't say it too loud. We can engage everybody else's.
Be very, very quiet.
So let me ask you a question off the cuff. It's just you and I here. We're going to announce to our 100 subscribers also. We'll say something to them. We'll communicate with them. So if 101st, how do we sort of ensure that this doesn't go into their junk?
Oh, Cindy says it was Donnie and Marie. That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I remember I used to have. I remember watching their variety show when I was a kid. Yeah. Yes, I am that old. And I remember the Sonny and Cher one, so it's even before that. So.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Captain and Tennille because that's
I remember that one too.
Oh my gosh.
Tony Orlando and Don.
Oh gosh.
Going way back, yes.
Oh boy.
I remember my uncle was 19 when I was born, so I got exposed to a lot of different music and So how to get our email newsletters and make sure they don't go to your junk mail is once you subscribe, you have to go and add our email address to your contact list or go into your Gmail and mark it as not junk or as not a promotion, because it will often go in a lot of these types of emails, marketing emails go into your marketing or your promotions folder in Gmail. So you have to go in there and physically check that you want it in your inbox rather than in your promotions box, or create a whole subfolder for BU Network and tag it with BU Network, and it'll automatically move it over there to BU Network, and then you'll always get it in your BU Network folder. So subfolders are great. I have like 25 different subfolders to all the different things that I subscribe to.
So do I. And I'd also like to give a shout out. I don't know if you're able to take this link to Wow Network for promoting us on a regular, consistent basis. If we could I actually have their
you could drop it
promotion.
In the link. Yep,
sure.
Right in Facebook. Yep. I don't
soon as I'm done speaking, I'll get it off my Facebook. So Wow Women Network, and I want to personally thank Iveta Koskina for keeping us front and center, not only on the WOW website, but in the WOW group and personally, and sharing it in WhatsApp groups and with all the people that communicate with us. It is such an honor to be a member and to have this type of support. We are thrilled beyond words for this type of recognition. And it's an alliance. So if you're wondering what WOW Network is all about, I will get that off my personal Facebook page and I'll put it in the comments, and then you can go over to that group and you can see that Iveta does an amazing, amazing job there. So thank you so much. As you speak, Dr. Energy, I will go and grab that link.
Cool. Let me just bring myself back on screen here. There we go. And I'm actually finding a nice, fun little link here as well. So yeah, we appreciate all of the sharing, as we said earlier. It really touches us that you think enough of us to be able to want to share us with your friends, your community, your list, because that trust is something that we really hold in our hands. We don't want to wreck it. We don't want to burn it. We don't want to abuse it. So when you share our content with other people in your life, we are truly appreciative. It means so much to us. So thank you very much. Did you find it yet?
Yes. Posting it now.
Excellent. I'll bring you back on screen.
You know what? Let's see. I don't know if you like the way I posted that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very long link.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you for bringing me back. So that's directly actually from the website. I'll also go grab the Facebook group. Let me do that, Dr. Energy. Let me go grab the Facebook group if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So I just shared a link with Donnie and Marie for I'm a Little Bit Country, You're a Little Bit Rock and Roll when they were appearing with Bob Hope. So hope you can click on that later and enjoy that a little bit.
Oh, aren't you
all the bad 70s outfits and all. So
well, you know what I did, but Iveta actually she encourages us to do this. I put our post right now. We are live in the WOW group. So I just put the WOW group right up there.
Thank you.
So yeah.
For sharing that.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm back.
Excellent. So I don't see any other questions in the comments about Zoom fatigue and how we can crush it. We just recap. Let's take some breaks. That's
Right.
really important. Change the views that you're using on Zoom or your digital meeting software so that you're not always looking at yourself. And you don't have to try to be scanning the whole thing. If you want to get more details, go back and watch the replay of this and see how you can do that. So
Also, let me make a recommendation. So I wear these glasses because I absolutely need to. The lights are bright. But if you haven't thought about this, there are glasses that you can get. These are my prescription glasses that will help your eyes so that you're not going for the screen. So that if you thought, like, I don't need that, go out and get a pair, try them, and then tell me if you don't need it, because tell us after you've tried it. Don't tell us until you've tried it, because it really makes a huge difference, right? That's not a prescription.
These are non-prescription, but they have a coating or filter in them that filters out the blue light that is emitted from your computer monitor that can harm your eyes. I also use on my computer is something a program called Flux, Flux, and I find it does a better job than the built-in Windows version of decreasing the blue light. It actually goes in time with the sunset, and I can change the light more. It has more granular control of it than the Microsoft version. And so even at night when I'm on screen, it filters out, it brings the light from a blue daylight to more of a sunset yellowy orange light that is easier on the eyes, so that it's also the blue light when you're working on your computer screen at night triggers and shuts down your pineal gland in your brain, which produces melatonin, and the melatonin we need to help us relax to go to bed. So that's why having screens on half an hour or an hour before you go to bed is not good. It will keep you up at night and your sleep will not be as good.
And Dr. Energy, we're in front of lights, not just our screen. So if you're a streamer, if you're doing live events, we have lights on us, lights to the left of us, lights to the right of us.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Lights are all over the place. So when you might be sitting in front of your computer and we're talking about that. And then when you go and you add, so I'm basically in a dark room. I just want to give you a quick little idea about this.
And just while you're doing that, I'm just going to address Cindy's comment. A stand-up desk is very helpful. So you can, especially if it's a motorized one, those crank, don't get you could get a hand crank one if you want the exercise, but motorized one, you can actually program the buttons so you can have different heights and just hit a button and it rises or lowers. So you can go from sitting to standing, back to sitting as often as you need. If you do that, make sure your cables on the back of your, if your computer's on the floor, make sure your cables are long enough to accommodate that. So
I just wanted to show you what happens when you start to add exterior light. So this is the room that I'm in with the blinds closed so that the lighting is not going into my camera lens, washing me out. This is with an 18-inch ring light that I can adjust to different settings, letting you know that when you are in front of your computer and you do have additional lighting, it is a really good idea to protect yourself, your eyes, so that you're not only experiencing being on the screen, that you're experiencing all this lighting. So you do need the breaks, but cover your eyes with the lens, do all the things that we talked about. And if you have some more suggestions, let us know. If you don't have lighting and you're letting the natural light into your camera, you might have a different effect. And then it'll be hard to look at you. So as much as you're looking at people, remember that they're looking at you too, and you don't want them to strain and look away because you haven't set up your studio properly.
Right. And Cindy makes, I haven't actually looked at the hydraulic ones. I personally, I want a motorized one. I just think they're cool. And I think it's more useful for me. That's all. A cool point is you can actually buy just the legs. You can get different ones from different places. Amazon has them for as little as $300 just for the legs, and you can go buy an inexpensive desktop or countertop from IKEA or Home Depot or something like that, so you can find something that you like. Most of the legs are adjustable in width as well, or if you don't want to do that and you want one that's already put together, I know that IKEA has one that's already, you have to obviously put it together, but all the parts are there, the desktop, all that kind of stuff. And you can, if you really want to go all out, there's other ones online. You can spend as much as $1,200-$1,500. And
you can go look at Herman Miller if you want to be a diva.
there's Jarvis Desk is another one. They're $1,200-$1,500 depending on what you go to. But anyways, I think that covers Zoom fatigue for the live stream today. I personally am getting a little fatigued. I need a little bit of a break now. So let's call it a day for our live stream, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Energy, for all you've done this week.
Thank you. And we'll see you all on the other side.
Ciao.
Ciao.